Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about a story. Sorry, I look like crap, just got done working out. Izzy is sleeping. It is like 1:30 in the morning right now. Yeah. But I wanted to talk to you guys about my miscarriage and pregnancy story, which is... Miscarriage was hard, pregnancy was easy, which is great. I will start off with the miscarriage story, and I found out that I was pregnant around July 4th, actually, when I was up in Idaho visiting my family, and I found out then. That was my very first pregnancy test, and then me and my husband at the time, he was my boyfriend, we decided to get married for the purposes of having insurance on Izzy. Other than that, it would be money out the wazoo. So that's how that went. And so I was having a hard time. I was very, very, very nauseous the whole way back from the trip. I was always throwing up, could not keep any food down, couldn't keep water down. It was bad. And then around came October 1st, I was having cramping and I started to bleed. And then I told myself to give it a little while because there is chances where you could bleed and the bleeding will stop and everything's fine. So I just waited until the next day the bleeding stopped before I went to sleep, and then I woke up and the cramping was worse and the bleeding came back. So I then called my mom and we decided to go to the hospital after calling my doctor, and they said to go to the emergency room. After we ended up going to the emergency room, they did ultrasounds and we found out that the baby did not have a heartbeat anymore. And then she took pictures and it turns out I was 14 weeks pregnant at the time, okay? And we found out after taking the measurements of the fetus, the baby passed away around 8 to 9 weeks old. So it took a lot longer for my body to understand that I was having a miscarriage. But they decided to not do a DNC, and a DNC is where they go in and they tapi medical devices to take the fetus and everything out, but they decided to not do that because of how small the fetus was and how young. But the thing that they didn't realize after they sent me home and they gave me pain pills, that night, that almost all that day and that night, I sat on the toilet the whole time and I kept bleeding and bleeding and bleeding and could not stop staying off the toilet, and it was very bad and very gruesome. Like, you walked into the bathroom and you saw that toilet and it was like a horror movie. It was bad. And I was kind of disappointed that they didn't want to give me a DNC, because by the time I actually passed the placenta and the baby and everything, the placenta did not stop growing, so the placenta was about this round when it came out of me, which is actually pretty big. And that was because the placenta was 14 weeks and the baby was only 8 to 9 weeks old. So it was harder for my body to get it out, which I don't think they took that under consideration, because since the baby was so little, they weren't concerned about the placenta sac. But it did. I mean, I'm pretty sure I probably would have been in more pain than I was, but it was still really painful for me to sit there on the toilet for about 2 full days to try and pretty much tough it out and have a miscarriage on the toilet, which was pretty messed up. But oh well. And it took me a little while to get over the fact that I had a miscarriage. I thought it was my fault, and I didn't know, got kind of depressed, and I felt sad. But then I told myself that, well, it's all up to God, and that's it, pretty much. And then I moved on with my life, and I will see my baby whenever I pass away and go up to heaven. So that is that story. The good story is a little while after I got pregnant again with Izzy. You probably saw her in my last video, my little rascal. Got pregnant with her. She was born February 22nd, 2017, so 9 months before then. So I got pregnant. See, do the math real quick. February. August, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Sorry for the awkward silence, but I was trying to figure out how it went. But that pregnancy, it was kind of the same as my miscarriage. I was constantly sick all the time, had very, very bad morning sickness. At least it was not bad as some other people that they go through, but I could not eat barely anything, and I did lose some weight, but the doctors surprisingly were not concerned about it, which is great, actually. I didn't really have anything else but morning sickness. It was pretty good throughout the whole entire pregnancy. I didn't have any complications. She kicked a lot. Always loved to kick my bladder and make me need to go pee, like all pregnant women. Had lots of fun. I do have stretch marks. That's just mommy tiger stripes right there. Once the day came for her to come, which was February 21st, me and my husband got in an argument, and I went to the park to calm down, and so I think having all the rage and the anger and the frustration kind of sent me into labor at that point, And I did not realize that I was going into labor for a while until, because like I didn't feel the cramping for a few hours actually until around 10-11 was whenever I found out that I was actually having contractions. And so that's about the time that my husband leaves for work. So that's just great. So I'm in the middle of going into labor and my husband has to go to work to tell them that I'm in labor to come back. And since he had to go to work, my mom drove me to the hospital. And once we got to the hospital and checked in and everything, I was already 4 centimeters dilated, which is pretty fast to me. Because I've heard stories of women having pregnant, like, their births last for a long time, and mine did not last very long. It was fast. My pregnancy was about 7 hours long. I think a little less than that. I'm not sure. I did get epidural because once I got past I was around 5 centimeters and I was getting really close, 5-6 centimeters, and I was getting really close to the point where they don't give you epidural anymore. And I just could not stand having those hard contractions anymore. It was insane. I just could not do it anymore. So I was like, please give me the epidural. I was begging for it. Oh man, that was difficult. But other than that, after they gave me that, I was very nice. My water didn't break yet, which is pretty crazy. My mom's water for both me and my brother did not break for a while, and they actually had to break it for her. And so I was expecting for that to maybe happen to me, and it didn't. All I know is that I was the epidural that they gave me, it kind of makes you nauseous sometimes. Some people don't get nauseous, some people do, and I did. I got nauseous really bad, and so I thought it was hilarious. I was heaving into the bag, and then next thing you know, my water just breaks all over everything, which is hilarious. Because I'm throwing up, and then my water breaks because you know, when you throw up, you're like crouched over and you're tensing up, and so your whole entire body tenses, and next thing you know, it felt like I peed myself, but I didn't. It was my water, and it was funny to me. And so after that, things started moving really quick, and then next thing you know, I'm pushing, and the doctors and the nurses turned around and said that they were so surprised because I am a first-time mom on how well I was taking this and how well I was pushing and not giving up and not saying that I'm tired and I don't want to push anymore. I mean, a lot of the women who do that are women who don't have the epidural, and I understand because that was insane. I don't think I would have been able to do it without the epidural. So women who don't do it without epidural, I give you guys so much mad props, and I don't understand how you guys did it. It seriously blows my mind. But other than that, Izzy came out into the world on February 22nd, 2017. She was, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I almost don't remember how much she weighs and how much she was. She weighed, was it 6 pounds or 8? It was like, I think it was 8 pounds. But she was actually really good. She was pretty chunky, and she was pretty tall too. And she was very healthy. My mom said I couldn't really see, even though that they had the mirror right there, because you have the option to be able to watch your child come out of you, because there's a mirror that they could give you if you want, and I did. But at the time, I was more focused on pushing her out than watching her in that mirror. So my mom said that whenever she came out, that her eyes were open, and not many babies do that. So she was very alert, and she didn't cry very much, but she was very, very alert, looking around and seeing everything in the room. And it was pretty crazy, because they say that newborns don't really open their eyes like that all the time. And she stayed up for a long time after she came out. And breastfeeding was a struggle. I mean, my milk didn't come in super fast, and so that was kind of disappointing on my end, because I felt bad, even though that I couldn't do anything about it. And they say that it takes a while for your breast milk to come in, which is understandable, but I still wanted to try and breastfeed her as long and as much as I could, and I could not do that. So we got donated milk at the time, donated breast milk, because I wanted her to not have formula, on my perspective, because I think breast milk is better. She took it okay. She wasn't super happy about it, and I tried breastfeeding her as much as I could to try and get my milk supply coming in faster, and it did eventually come in, but it came in really slow. And throughout the time, she was not super good at latching on, and it was a struggle, but we managed to get through that, and she started getting better at latching, but she never really was super good at it. People wanted to say that she was a lazy eater, but she wasn't really a lazy eater, because she really wanted to eat. She just would get frustrated that she couldn't latch on right. Like, she would latch on not tight enough, and she'd end up like gulping in air, and so she'd be really burpy and gassy. And I tried techniques. Whenever I was in the hospital, we had a lactation expert come in and show me how to get the best latch, and I did that all the time. And sometimes she would just leave her mouth open and not latch, and sometimes she would, but it wouldn't be like, her suction was not there, and she wasn't suctioning onto my nipple very great. So we ended up bottle feeding her a lot. I did keep trying to breastfeed her. I pumped and I put my breast milk in bottles to feed her, but my breast supply ended up depleting really fast after around 4 months. My breast milk would just not come in very easily, so I ended up having to formula feed her a lot throughout her being young. And I mean, I understand people say breast is best, but there is people out here like me, and even my mom, My mom could not breastfeed me. She had to do formula at the very start. Her breast milk would not come in, and that's what I was afraid of. So I am actually grateful for being able to breastfeed my child as long as I did, and as long as I was able to, without having to go straight to formula right after giving birth, like my mom. So that is great. But other than that, transitioning to home, it was difficult because I was really tired, and down there was very, very sore. I am happy that I did not rip very bad. The doctor said that I did not rip as bad as other first-time moms, which I guess you could say is great, and I'm very grateful for that. But I still was really sore down there. I ended up healing pretty fast because I made sure that I was extremely clean. I was using witch hazel wipes, which is great. Witch hazel wipes are the best. And whenever they give you these big pads that you crack and it's cold, they're like ice pack pad in one. So a 2-in-1 type of thing, which is really cool. And what I would do is I would take a bottle of witch hazel and I would sprinkle it on it and soak it up, and then I'd put it on my underwear, and it would be amazing. It felt like I was sitting on a nice chilly cloud. Best way how to explain it. And it was amazing. And then they gave me a spray to spray down there, and it felt so soothing. And I cannot remember what that spray is called, but that spray is extremely amazing, and it made my life so much better, and it helped me heal as what I think is faster, which is great. And so I actually healed pretty fast. My stitches dissolved around a week and a half, 2 weeks, around a week to 2 weeks, which is, it's kind of fast to me, because I've gotten stitches before, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. So I ended up not having postpartum depression, which is great. I am amazing. I'm super happy, and I am so grateful for that, because a lot of moms out there are dealing with postpartum depression, and I feel for them so bad. And I really wish everyone who ever has to go through that the bestest luck, and prayers from me for having to feel that way, because I don't know how to be able to explain like how I would feel about having to deal with that. It would be hard. But I am truly grateful that I don't have to deal with that. What else? I am happy that I was actually able to have a husband that helped me. He works nights, so I was up during the day with Izzy, and then whenever he would get home, I was actually able to sleep in pretty good, because he would end up coming home from work at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and he would take care of her while I was able to get the rest that I needed, which was great for me. And I am so happy, and I'm so grateful for what he did for me at the time, because I was extremely exhausted, especially the first month. It takes a while to be able to understand, like, get a good rhythm and routine on a newborn in the house, which helped me out so much. And I don't know, I guess you could say that's about it. I mean, pregnancy was amazing, birth was amazing, latching and breastfeeding was not super great, and then having the help and support that I have was fantastic. But I would love to hear your guys' story and see if you guys liked hearing my story. Give it a thumbs up if you liked my story and give me a thumbs up for the greatness of my pregnancy, I guess. But that's about it. So I will get back to you guys later, and I hope you guys subscribe, hit the like button, and notification bell, because I think I'm gonna keep trying to post at least every week. Maybe more, maybe less. Well, probably more, not really less, because I want to keep doing at least weekly first before I think about doing more a week. It just depends. So, see you guys. Bye.